Anthony Richardson was just benched for Joe Flacco, and it looks like Anthony Richardson might go down as one of the biggest quarterback busts of all time. But the question is it his fault? Because going into this situation with the Colts, getting drafted, we knew he was a developmental prospect. We knew we had some things we needed to iron out. But on top of that, when you look at the arm talent, you know it's there. You see the ball placement on some of those throws, you know it's there. You see the rushing ability, you can't knock that. But when you're looking at Anthony Richardson and the Colts, overall, a developmental standpoint, it's easy to pinpoint that we need more time to develop. And we knew that going in from our days at Florida, and looking at what we did at Florida, we started only 13 games. So you drafted an inexperienced quarterback off the rip who had limited action at the college level. So, of course, when he was a hot prospect, you might as well come out and cash in on that. The Colts took the bait. On top of that, his completion percentage at Florida, 53.8% in 2022, reflecting his accuracy troubles. Turnover concerns, threw 9 interceptions in 12 starts during his final season there, especially in high-stakes situations, and he was also inconsistently efficient, 7.8 yards per attempt in college with limited success on the deep ball. Even though he loved throwing the deep shots, his bad throw rate was north of 25% over at Florida, so we have a lot of red flags here. But really, he's an inexperienced quarterback who probably needed another year at the college level this season. That's honestly what we're seeing here with Anthony Richardson. I liked Anthony Richardson when he was coming out for the draft. I loved the arm. It was live. It was fun to watch. I loved his rushing ability. But I also knew he needed more time this season. He needed more time to develop. That was obvious going in. But we're young into his career. We endured some injuries. Richardson missed games in 2024 due to a shoulder injury, limiting his consistency and development. And we were watching him all off season long. We were watching him in training camp, OTAs, minicamp, everything, watching him come back from these injuries. We had an injury hiccup in training camp even that slowed him down a little bit through some practices, but he eventually came back. So we were missing time, and that is very important for a young developmental quarterback in the early stages of your career. But looking at the numbers here, we know he's been inconsistent. We know he hasn't been 100% accurate. Completion percentage, 44.4%, lowest among NFL starters with accuracy issues. His bad pass rate is at 35.3%. His interception rate's pretty high, 11 interceptions in 6 games. It connects the dots to what we saw in college. His sack rate, 6.3%. High among starters, struggles with pocket awareness doing this, but also the pocket's breaking down. There's also some plays that it's not 100% his fault. We saw like 7 drops last week. We saw the wide receivers not come in big times, but we're also seeing some throws that just missed completely. His expected points added, EPA per drop back, among the lowest in the National Football League among quarterbacks. His adjusted yards per attempt around 5.4. We know this. We know all this. We know the struggles. But the thing is, my question is, we knew this going in when we drafted him. We knew this was going to happen. We endured some injuries on top of that. So why can't we give him the grace moving forward to develop? What is the odds of the Colts winning the Super Bowl right now? Are we looking at the Colts right now with Joe Flacco and what they have, and we're saying title run? Title starts tomorrow. When I look at Joe Flacco and I look at the offense is better. The offense is moving better. Josh Downs is going off. Michael Pittman has a pulse. This offense is alive and cooking better. So when I look at this, I can understand from that degree because Joe Flacco is cooking here. But when you look at this project of Anthony Richardson coming in, we knew all this coming in when we got drafted. We all knew this at the combine. We know, why'd you make that selection? I get the other quarterbacks available, and I get all of that baked in. But on top of that, you make that investment, you make the draft pick, you can watch him develop in game. But why are we making this change right now? It's Halloween time. And now we're going to go with Joe Flacco, which is an indicator to me that we're moving on to a different quarterback next year. Unless you give him another opportunity, but why do so when you already pulled the plug? My issue's not with Anthony Richardson, and maybe to a degree, because he did tap out last week in that performance. He's known as a quitter due to that, but that was kind of weird on that aspect, and that is another key sign of a developmental issue of what needs to be taught there. But there might be a lot of things that we're not seeing from the Colts. The cards are not dealt 100%. We're only reading the tea leaves here. We're looking at the tape. We know he's not getting bailed out as much as many other quarterbacks, so we got to give him some grace on that one. On top of that, the developmental issues. But we did tap out last week. The tap out is a major sign that, hey, you should have stayed out there. You should have been in on the next play. You can give him grace. You can say this. You can say he didn't know. But honestly, you know this from the early days of playing the game. You know this as an elementary schooler. Just watching football on Sundays, you know you do not see this ever. The thing about Anthony Richardson doing that, it caused a lot of red flags. A lot of things that people are questioning about. And then not too much after that, we get the ripcord pulled. When you talk to the beat writers or watch them post about on social media, they say that's not the reason for the decision. But when you look at beat writers and their relationship with teams, they are that gnat they just want to swat away, so they're not going to get the real information. They get more than us, but not that much more than us. But the Anthony Richardson ripcord just got pulled. He is on a trajectory to Bustville, and honestly, we knew this going in. He was a developmental prospect, and the thing is, the Colts could not be patient enough to stick with Anthony Richardson. It's a patience issue. It's a developmental issue. It's going into an agreement with someone pretty much and just pulling back because you drafted him knowing what could potentially happen, and you went up against it. And sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Joe Flacco does make this team better. And Anthony Richardson was not playing all pro. He just wasn't. But giving him a little bit more time to develop, giving him another half season or so to see what you got. But on the other side, when you're a coach, you know when you know. But maybe it's not the coach's decision. Maybe it was an Ursay decision. Maybe he did not like what he was seeing on the field. And maybe he needed something more for the now. Well, let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.